Well, we had quite the eventful weekend over at Kansas. Um, got a lot to talk about here. This is insane what transpired on Sunday and even on Saturday. Hello, guys. Welcome here to Out of Turn 4. Um, we're safe from whatever the fuck happened the last few days. So, coming up, we're going to talk the NASCAR at Kansas. We're going to discuss the racing news. A driver has come out of retirement, start driving effective this weekend. We'll tell you who that is. Also, a new team in the Toyota ranks. So that'll be an interesting discussion. And then, of course, we will make our race picks for Darlington throwback weekend as well as Indy GP weekend. Of course, this is the unofficial kickoff to the month of May this Saturday, so we look forward to that. But let's begin with Grant Enfinger and winning his first truck race in a few years, I believe, at Kansas. His first one of the year, his 8th career victory. But, of course, his win kind of overshadowed by what took place on track between Ty Majeski and Rajah Caruth. It appears that Rajah Caruth just kept blocking Ty Majeski. Majeski had enough, got to the outside of him, and basically right-reared him into the wall. Oh, man. Another one, just like Bubba Wallace back at Las Vegas at the end of last season. So, I feel like Majeski's going to get a fine. I don't know about a suspension, but definitely a fine. He needs to get that. So I'm going to vouch for fine. I don't think a suspension is needed here. Nobody could have gotten hurt doing that, but at least I don't think so. But the Caruth, like I said, you got to fine him for that. You can't you can't let that go after what happened between Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson. You just can't. So, hopefully we'll see if NASCAR disciplines the driver of that 99, I believe it is, or 66, whatever car he drives now. But over on the Cup side, Denny Hamlin is finally a Cup winner this season. His 49th career victory. Of course, fireworks all across. Denny Hamlin got by Kyle Larson late, essentially hooked him to get the win, which led to a lot of boos for Denny Hamlin. And it's kind of shocking because if you hear Denny Hamlin's podcast so often, he speaks highly of Kyle Larson, says they're both friends. And that move certainly doesn't reflect that, but it shouldn't be shocking because Hamlin's quite the two-faced character himself. I'm not surprised by it. It takes no talent to race that way. That's all I'm going to say. It takes no talent to race that way. And, of course, he admitted, if I was in the other side of this, I'd be pretty pissed off. So at least he acknowledges that. But he's going to have one coming from Kyle Larson. But at the same time, can you really feel bad for Kyle Larson? Let's face it, he does kind of the same well, he kind of pushes guys to the outside and wrecks them constantly. So I don't feel like you can feel bad for Kyle Larson because he kind of races dirty himself now. But as far as Denny goes, this is no surprise, wants to bitch and whine about everybody else's driving, but is not quick to correct his own. There was another incident, and it's everybody's favorite driver, and that is Ross Chastain, of course. Ross Chastain and Noah Gragson had a little confrontation. A little more than that. On the pit lane, Noah Gragson felt he was shoved into the wall. Ross Chastain, you could see the replay. Ross didn't touch him. Ross left him a lane. What more do you want? I just got to ask that. What do you people want? Anytime Ross Chastain is in the vicinity of a car hitting the wall or wrecking, we're automatically going to blame him now. What do we want from this guy? Seriously. I mean, this one is far from his fault, and yet we're still blaming him for it. Or this one is, well, not as far as, the Christopher Bell Richmond incident, but it's still not his fault. He left him room. Gragson must have gotten afraid that he was to the inside and pretty close and didn't realize he ran out of real estate. I mean, what more do you want? So Gragson gets mad at Ross Chastain, grabs his fire suit. Ross Chastain don't tolerate that and straight up punched him across the face. Gave him a good one too, before security stepped in and broke up the fight, which I kind of wish they would have let him go just a little bit. I wish they would have let him go a little. Just let Noah get a couple punches in, let Ross get a couple punches in, and they can go home and settle it in the Chevy simulator on Monday. So, but I told you Ross was going to need a beatdown. Little did I know that Ross would bring the heat himself, and I'm sorry, Noah Gragson deserves to have taken what he took because, let's face it, you didn't view a replay. You went straight up to Ross Chastain, not even seeing a replay of what happened. So how can you make any argument based on that? I couldn't. I could tell you right now, you just made a damn fool of yourself on national TV. So, I don't feel like NASCAR needs to intervene with the number one. I feel like they should just let it go. It's good for ratings. It's good to see. It gets eyes on the TV. So let it go. Let them police the one. Let the drivers police the one. As long as he's not out there literally killing somebody, like right rearing them, let it go. Okay? Unless he's right-rearing guys, sending them head first into the wall, let it go. Just let it go. All I can ask for. Let it go. It's good for the ratings. It's good for TV. And it's good to keep fans engaged because you're on one side or the other. And I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here where I'm just like in the middle, honestly. There are weeks it is Ross's fault, and I'm not going to deny it. As a fan of Ross Chastain, I won't deny there are weeks it is his fault. But this one was not his fault. So, some point we just need to realize, let it go. Stop blaming him for everything within 10 car lengths of him. So fun. We'll see what happens. We'll see what comes out of this. Moving on, of course, we got some racing news. The driver has come out of retirement to start racing this weekend for Rick Ware Racing. That driver is Ryan Newman. He will drive the number 51 this weekend in his first NASCAR Cup Series start since Phoenix 2021. So look forward to 45-year-old Ryan Newman getting his next-gen debut. And this is a big pickup for Rick Ware Racing. Of course, many know, Newman's known as the Rocket Man. He's a guy who always puts together, rocket ships. Of course, engineering degree at Purdue. I feel like he's a guy who could really help Rick Ware Racing. I feel like this is a really good move for them. They may not see it at this time, but it's a really good move for them to get Ryan Newman behind the wheel. And, he can help this team grow from finishing 36th 3 laps down to finishing 35th 2 laps down. So, there's no saving Rick Ware Racing, but at least he can make it a little bit more tolerable. So I look forward to Ryan Newman's return this weekend, as many fans do, where this weekend they will be honoring the NASCAR 75 greatest drivers, and of course, doing their normal throwback paint schemes. Excuse me. Other news is, of course, we go back to the Legacy Motor Club. Well, they will no longer be in the Chevrolet camp. It was announced that Legacy Motor Club will be joining Toyota effective in 2024, which will bring the grand total to 8 entries once the deal with 2311 for 2024 is finalized. So big news for, big news for Legacy Motor Club. And this is a move I feel like, they had to make. I think Chevy was really tough on them. I mean, I don't feel like they were getting much support. I mean, Eric Jones, that win, we would have thought, hey, this is going to boost them in the best way possible. The sky's the limit for Legacy Motor Club, Petty GMS. They're just going to keep getting better. And it's clearly just not the case at this moment. It's just not the case. And, I feel like Chevy can only go so far to help them because, again, they've got like 15 or 16 entries in a given week. So it's about time Toyota steps up and kind of gets involved in more programs. And, I just hope Joe Gibbs doesn't do them dirty because we know Toyota teams are very quick to the graveyard. So I hope that won't be the case here, and that Toyota will keep their support, provide great support for Legacy Motor Club in addition to their other 6 entries. I will tell you, the weirdest part of this is going to be watching Jimmy Johnson drive a Toyota. I mean, this guy's driven Chevys and stock cars his entire career. Now, I get it, he drove Hondas in the NTT IndyCar series, but that's a totally different beast right there. I mean, when you're in a stock car, when you think NASCAR and Jimmy Johnson, you think Chevrolet. So this is going to be quite an adjustment. You thought, Jimmy Johnson driving for Legacy Motor Club was going to be a big adjustment. This is going to be a bigger one, I think, starting in 2024 if he continues his part-time campaign, which I think he will. All right, we got our race weekend picks, and we kick things off with the GMR Indy Grand Prix. I'm going to pick Romain Grosjean. I think he's been hot. Actually, thinking he's been hot's an understatement. He has been hot to start the campaign this year. He hasn't had a win to show for it yet. The Indy GP has always been good to him. And I think he's finally going to get the win he's been seeking for the last 2 or 3 years now. So, can't wait to see a Romain victory. Truck Series at Darlington, I picked William Byron. William Byron will be driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports, of course, in the number 51. So I think he's going to get the job done driving for them this weekend. Then over on the Xfinity side at Darlington, I'm going to pick Kyle Larson, who is going to be driving for Colleague Racing this weekend. I think he'll get a win. Of course, I think he'll get Chris Rice smiling right away. And can't wait to watch it. And then Cup Series at Darlington, I'm picking Chase Elliott. I think he showed some speed at Kansas. He's finally getting back on the right track. Darlington's been good to him. Darlington's also been brutal to him. I think finally he's going to get that win at Darlington that he's been seeking as well. I think Willie B will challenge him. Seeing that Willie B was really good in this race last year, but I think it'll be Chase Elliott's day to shine. All right, that's all we got. Thanks for watching. Tune in to No Final Bell if they are on this week. We'll see you back here Sunday for Sunday Morning Tinkle. And then, of course, I'll be back here next Tuesday for another edition of Out of Turn 4. And, of course, be sure to check out our social media. And for those who don't know, I do have a little bit of an announcement on our social media. We now have a link tree. I just finished setting that up today, so we will have Linktree. Be sure to go follow us, or be sure to click on that so you can get access to all of our channels on Tinkle Sports and stay up to date. And, that way you know where we are. So check out our Linktree, and we'll see you back here next Tuesday for Out of Turn 4. Until then, goodbye, everyone.